This free game is amazing. This one is an absolute classic. This game is insane graphics, this one is a must-play title, this game looks incredible, and this one takes the genre to the next level. Have you just downloaded Steam and want the very best new free-to-play games of the year? Well, you're in the right place. Every year there's tons of new free games, but I've compiled all the ones that are worth playing into one list. This is Undercover Dudes, and these are the top 25 free PC games of 2024. Let's get straight into it. Starting out with Tom Clancy's XDefiant, a fast-paced arena first-person shooter from industry giants Ubisoft. Hero shooter focus, XDefiant has different factions called Defiants, which all have unique looks and more importantly, unique abilities. Graphically, it's decent and the gameplay is very much Call of Duty repackaged, which isn't necessarily a bad thing given how stale the genre has been as of late. Overall, XDefiant brings some much needed variety and in particular a very solid shooter to the free-to-play scene. Next is Kart Rider Drift, Nexon's free-to-play attempt to rival Mario Kart. The gameplay is awesome, it's accessible to everyone, but it's also quite in-depth and competitive. Add on top of this the deep kart customization, fantastically bright and detailed graphics, and a large array of karts, Kart Rider Drift is hitting it out of the park. The skill ceiling is high, community is established, updates are regular, and has a mostly positive rating on Steam. I've often been skeptical of Nexon, but they're absolutely doing something right here. Next we have the intense and fast-paced first-person shooter called Killfish. This game is heavily inspired by Ultra Kill, Doom, and the like, with the fast-paced movement being core to this game's identity. This syncs perfectly with the not only cool gun mechanics, but also the unique style which incentivizes you to kill in flashy ways to improve your score. This is all captured in the neon glow of the graphics and art style, which works particularly well as you're using the hook to move around at higher speed. An extremely underrated free-to-play shooter for sure. Shifting gears, we have one of the best reviewed free-to-play games of 2024 that only a handful of people have played, and that's the bullet hell twin-stick shooter called Bloody Hell. Featuring frantic shooter gameplay with a twist, Bloody Hell is incredibly fun and is bolstered by its smooth animations, crisp controls, and awesome movement. With this, it's easy to see why it has an overwhelmingly positive rating, delivering game quality that could easily be worth $10 or more, truly a hidden gem on the Steam store. Next today we have Caliber, the team-based tactical third-person shooter that is now available on Steam. This is a game that has gone from strength to strength, with the reworked monetization working well and nostalgic Ghost Recon-like gameplay hitting hard with snappy gunplay and a more tactical angle than its competitors like Rogue Company. The huge array of playable characters also gives it a big edge, with a lot of customization available across the weapons and gear too. All of this culminates into a great shooter experience, well deserving of the very positive rating on Steam. Next we have Farlight 84, the latest battle royale to take over Steam. Originally a mobile-only game, Farlight 84 has garnered a very positive rating on Steam with its easy-to-learn gameplay, splicing together Fortnite and Apex Legends into an interesting combo that gamers are loving. This makes sense given its extremely easy to pick up and play nature and easy to run graphics, resulting in a really good rating on Steam, a very considerable player base, and establishing itself as an extremely solid competitor in the battle royale scene. After a long down period, this next game is back, and that's MultiVersus. MultiVersus is the next generation of platform fighting games, going head to head against the juggernauts of Brawlhalla and Smash. In this, you team up with or against your friends using some pretty iconic characters including Batman, Shaggy, Superman, Bugs Bunny, and more. There's a huge variety of maps, customization, and overall content, and it's obvious Warner Brothers is putting a lot behind this game. Mode-wise too, there's a lot on the table, and overall it's a very well-rounded package. Definitely worth a try if you haven't already, and especially given it was taken off Steam for a considerably long period. Next today is a game called Operation Harsh Doorstop, a Patreon-funded free-to-play first-person shooter headed by YouTuber BlueDrake42. This game is truly the Swiss Army knife of shooters, putting modability first and foremost to enable people to create whatever they can think of. Since release, the team and community have been putting the hard yards in and their work has paid off, culminating into a unique modest paradise that is absolutely worth the download. It's by far the most unique game on this list and one that offers realistically infinite potential. A potentially controversial pick is the newly released Pixel Gun 3D PC edition. The quintessential blocky shooter for the mobile has now been ported over to Steam and people are definitely interested. Featuring a ton of maps, modes, guns, etc., the content overload bolsters the relatively simple point-and-shoot gameplay. It's very much a nostalgia hit and a throwback to the past, but hey, sometimes that's not a bad thing. With that said, Pixel Gun 3D is a fun time, but be warned that pay to win is quite rampant and somewhat spoils this otherwise cool game. An interesting take on the competitive card game genre is Duelist II, a game based on beautifully animated pixel art cards led by Blizzard Entertainment's former lead producer Keith Lee. Using a turn-based combat style, you position your units, with the goal being to destroy the general. The graphics and art, from the actual gameplay to the cards themselves, look awesome and really take this game to the next level. It's a refreshing move from an indie studio and one that holds up extremely well, especially as a free-to-play game. Definitely worth checking out for card game fans. Coming up next is World War III, the multiplayer first-person shooter developed by the Farm 51. With gameplay that mixes Battlefield and Call of Duty and graphics rivaling AAA games, World War III has truly been a rollercoaster for what should have been a slam dunk in the free-to-play scene. The gameplay, gunplay, graphics, all super fun and top tier, but a somewhat inconsistent developer and sloppy launch really soured that. Now in 2024, things are a lot more steady, so it's definitely worth checking out again if you haven't played this game in a while. Next up, we have Combat Master, the extremely bare-bones first-person shooter that old-school Call of Duty fans are loving. Featuring less than desirable animations, Combat Master is purely about twitch gunplay and insane movement, a complete departure from the slower-paced seen in the newer Call of Duty titles. The game also features extremely easy to run graphics, a huge positive for low-spec fans, resulting in a small but strong community. Overall, a wacky but super fun game, definitely worthy of its very positive rating on Steam. Next up is The Sims 4, the latest edition of the series that is now free to play. Featuring years of development, near infinite customization, a dedicated fanbase, and hugely positive reviews, there's a lot going for this game. Unfortunately, you still have to buy the DLCs, but there's more than enough in the base game to keep you interested, especially given The Sims 4 originally was a paid game, and moving it to free to play is a rare move from EA. It's fantastic to see though, and it's a perfect experience to get you into the world of Sims. Check it out. Next today is Halo Infinite, the next edition of the Halo series that is now completely free to play. With a very rocky and a very negative launch, Halo Infinite has now stabilized to a mostly positive rating on Steam, which is great to see. The gameplay is as good as ever, as it's Halo through and through. This, in combination with the beautiful AAA graphics, is a fantastic pairing and really highlights the true strengths of this game. The initial negative rating was definitely a situation of not enough development time before launch, and that's a shame given how good this game actually is. A game that absolutely has to be mentioned is Landfall Archives, a collection of unreleased content from the developers of Totally Accurate Battlegrounds, Landfall. This includes previously unreleased games, demos, interactive slideshows, and even an unreleased version of Totally Accurate Battle Simulator from 2017. There's just a lot of content to explore. The collection of 23 projects is way too much to talk about in this segment, but if you're a fan of the Totally Accurate series, there's no doubt you're going to like this. This next one goes without saying, it's the most popular free-to-play shooter of all time, and it's called Counter-Strike 2. Featuring addictive gameplay, insanely well thought out maps, a host of modes, and community servers galore, CS2 is the pinnacle of the genre. Furthermore, the upgrades that CS2 brings over its predecessor in CSGO is incredible. It's bringing the graphics, physics, and gameplay to the next level, but still keeps the core feeling of Counter-Strike intact. Next up today is Gatekeeper Infinity, the prologue version of the game called Gatekeeper. This game is a fast-paced roguelike shooter that is very much inspired by Risk of Rain, as seen by the graphics and the gameplay, but that's in no way a bad thing. Gatekeeper looks awesome and the fast-paced gameplay is addicting. This, in combination with 20 enemy types, is a decent amount of content to go through, adding to the replayability of this title. Now, to top it off, you can play solo or join forces with friends in co-op mode, something seldom seen in prologue editions. Zumbi Blocks 2 is our next shooter for today, a blocking and back to basics game that hits the right spot, even with it being in open alpha. This game is a zombie survival shooter with a relatively simple premise: fight zombies with melee and ranged weapons and loot the procedurally generated city. This continues into overcoming bosses that live in interest points across the city while you upgrade and unlock loadout tiers. It's incredibly easy to run, but the game mechanics are really solid, so much that people are begging for more content. A very big deviation from the general flow of today's list is Tap Wizard 2, an idle top-down shooter that is now available available on Steam. Originally a mobile game, Tap Wizard 2 is all out chaos. Choose your spells, perks and traits and let the wizard do all the work. It's a self-proclaimed fusion of idle, incremental ARPG and twin stick shooters that somehow works really well. The art style is captivating, the gameplay is in your face and chaotic, overall it fulfills a very unique niche. This has resonated with the Steam community, resulting in an impressive, mostly positive rating. Check it out. Despite our next game being made by only one person in 17 days, it's probably one of the best zombie shooter games available in the Steam store, and it's called definitely Stillness. The objective here is simple, just kill all the zombies, but the way you do it is incredibly fun as the zombies are super fast and get right up in your face. All the other gameplay aspects are great too. Your bullets have a lot of impact behind them, the aiming, reloading and movement are all really smooth. It's a fantastic shooter experience. Next today is Darke and Darker, a super fun and addicting game that has recently gone free to play. This hardcore fantasy first-person dungeon PvPvE adventure title has gotten a lot of attention over the last year, with its gritty combat and gruesome monsters all wrapped in a fantastic dungeon crawler concept. It's a fun game, and while rough around the edges, is still evolving as it progresses through early access. Furthermore, while it's actually a paid game, this free version allows you to create one character and play normal mode on all maps, a decent offering given the full title is $30. Next today is Sky, Children of the Light, a peaceful, award-winning MMO from the creators of Journey. Sky is a fantastic experience in every way possible, exploring a beautifully animated kingdom set in an incredible art style while creating fantastic memories with other players. The game is just incredibly pretty, the lore is super deep, the story is rich, and to top it off, the community is really friendly and supportive. Overall, a top-notch game and one deserving of its very positive rating on Steam and countless awards. One-Armed Robber is next, and it's such an awesome game, a chaotic first-person shooter that centers around a uniquely challenging premise. With this, you take the role of a determined robber equipped with only one arm, tasked with pulling off daring heists on banks, shops, and various establishments. This game is frankly ridiculous, but in the best way possible, with some gamers stating that it's even better than Payday, and plus, it's free to play. With such a laid-back and fun and easygoing premise, it goes against gaming trends, but in the best way possible. Make sure to check this one out. Coming up next is the new FPS that has taken over the free-to-play scene, and that's The Finals, a fully destructible first-person shooter made by former DICE developers. This game is fantastic. It looks absolutely beautiful, it's centered on fast-paced gameplay and is gun and class-based focus, wrapped up in an environment that literally collapses around you. This game is shot to the top of the Steam charts, and for good reason. It's literally one of the best free games out right now.